have a tornado warning now for portions of McLennan Hill and what counties? Limestone counties in north central Texas. Tornado warning is going to be until 5:30 a.m. So let's go ahead and switch over to the closest radar, and that'll let us take a look at what we have going on. Now, this thunderstorm is not your typical supercell where it's got a clear-cut hook, it's out in the middle of nowhere, etc. This is more of a messy thunderstorm. But with strong low-level wind shear this morning, it seems to be trying to spin up a tornado. So what we are going to do is we're going to take a closer look at it. I want to make sure my microphone is working properly, because if it's not, I would be very unhappy. So we're going to switch from the how hard it's raining mode to the which way the wind is blowing mode. And real quick, I do want to say this tornado warning does include the north side of Waco. It includes Belmead, Lacey Lakeview, Ross, West, Leroy, Mount Com. It does not include Hubbard, Mart, Abbott, Whitney, Hewitt, or Woodway. We have a tornado warning. Well, let me get done with this first. This potential tornado is just north of the city of Waco. Oh, what is that? The northwest loop there. So it's going to be crossing Interstate 35 near Lacey Lakeview, probably just south of Ross in the next 5 minutes. This thing is booking northeast at about 35 miles an hour. Okay, sounds like we do have a confirmed tornado now with our second supercell. This is going to be a tornado that is located northeast of Fredericksburg, moving towards Round Mountain, and eventually may move towards Marble Falls. Let's go ahead and switch to the which way the wind is blowing mode. And yeah, you can see we have what we call a little gate-to-gate couplets, right? Where the red is against the green. You can see we have a bit more of a defined structure compared to the storm up in McLennan County. And apparently we have what's called a tornado debris signature, and indeed we do. You see that little blue dot right there? Let me zoom back out a little. I'm going to turn off the smoothing data, so it's going to look pixelated, but this is actually how the data looks to those who don't use fancy broadcast systems. So when you look at that blue dot, this is a product that is able to determine if the shapes and sizes of an object are all the same. Raindrops are generally the same shape, the same size, enough to a point where the radar is able to determine that. When you have pieces of trees, leaves, foliage, etc. being lofted, maybe some structures, that debris is different shapes, different sizes, and that shows up as a correlation coefficient deficit known as a tornado debris signature. You see that new update there, the tornado debris signature continues, that blue dot. So we do have a tornado in progress right now northeast of Fredericksburg. Okay, so again, this is a confirmed tornado now northeast of Fredericksburg. We can tell that because we have a tornado debris signature. The radar is detecting debris that has been lofted by this tornado. And I believe we're looking at a pretty good height. Let me see, we're looking at about 4,700 feet above the surface. So that is a tornado that is lofting debris almost 5,000 feet in the air. So at this point, this tornado is located specifically about 13 to 14 miles northeast of Fredericksburg. And here, I'll try and get a few roads. Herber Skafer Road looks like near Farm to Market 1313 and Farm to Market 1631. So again, this tornado is a confirmed tornado. Again, this is a tornado that is confirmed near Farm to Market 1323 and Farm to Market 1631, about 13 to 14 miles northeast of Fredericksburg. Now, the way this storm is moving, should it continue, it is going to impact Marble Falls in about 30 minutes, okay? So Marble Falls, you're not under a tornado warning right now, but heads up, this thing has a tornado right now that is lofting debris 5,000 feet in the air, and this thing's been around for a while in terms of the storm. So those of you in Kingsland, Marble Falls, Round Mountain, maybe as far north as Burnett, get ready because you may be going under a tornado warning here soon. Okay, I'm going to go back up to our second tornado warning. This is going to be the north side of Waco. And we're going to switch to a closer radar. I'm going to try to anyway. And that'll let us get a good view of the circulation passing just north of downtown Waco near Belmead. So you can see this storm isn't as defined as the one farther south. It's more messy in its reflectivity appearance, but you can see when you look at the which way the wind is blowing mode, this thing's actually got a pretty good circulation with it now, approaching Lacey Lakeview. So we've got, it's fairly broad right now, but we've got about 40 miles an hour moving towards the radar, about 40 miles an hour moving away, so an 80 mile per hour circulation. Now it's not gate to gate, pixel to pixel like we saw with the thunderstorm farther south northeast of Fredericksburg, but it is to a point where we are concerned this could try and produce a brief tornado. So at this point, the potential tornado is going to be crossing Interstate 35 very near Lacey Lakeview, north of Belmead, north of Waco. I'm comfortable saying at this point that this particular thunderstorm will not pose a threat to Waco. However, as we switch back over to the which way the wind is blowing, or excuse me, the how hard it's raining mode, there's another thunderstorm coming up from your southwest that might have some gusty wind and some hail in Waco proper. But the potential tornado, which will likely be rain-wrapped if it occurs, is very near Interstate 35, near Lacey Lakeview, Elmont, Belmead, and it's going to be moving northeast at 35 to 40 miles per hour, making its way towards Leroy and eventually Mount Calm up Highway 31. At this point, Hubbard is not included in this tornado warning, but if this thunderstorm continues to exhibit strong rotation, they may end up having to extend the tornado warning, which would then put places like Hubbard, Coolidge, Dawson, and eventually southwestern Navarro County in this warning. But for now, that's not the case. In terms of actual organization, I feel confident in saying this southernmost storm northeast of Fredericksburg looks more impressive right now with the velocity and the tornado debris signature. So let's go ahead and go back down. We'll take a look. That's how hard it's raining mode. You can see the velocity signature. Yeah, there's still some rotation. It's not as tight, pixel to pixel, as it was just a few minutes ago. Let's see if we still have that tornado debris signature, and it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Let me make sure I've got the latest radar data here. I'm looking from a few different radar sites on another monitor real quick. And you know, yeah, that thing still has a tornado debris signature. That blue dot right there, that is pieces of tree limbs being lofted. It could be pieces of homes. It could be, well, I mean, what's around there? You've got brush, trees, maybe homes. It could be that. So we do have a tornado. I can't say if it's been down this whole time, but it's definitely been down at some point to cause that tornado debris signature. And this is a product that's able to determine the shapes of what are typically hydrometeors, raindrops, hailstones, snowflakes. It's able to determine those shapes are relatively similar, so the correlation coefficient is high, near 100%. That's the red. When you start getting the blue, that's where you have different shapes and different sizes, which in this case, in conjunction with a strong velocity couplet, is your pieces of debris. Leaves, tree limbs, could be pieces of homes, stuff like that. So that's how we can tell, yes, there's a tornado. Now, the latest scan came in. It's still there. It's not as defined, but we still have a pretty strong velocity signature. Frankly, it's not the gate-to-gate signature you'd expect with an actual tornado in progress, but obviously this thing has been putting down tornadoes the last 10 minutes based off the fact we have seen debris in the radar data. So I'm going to go back up to the Waco Belmead storm now. We'll take a closer look at that. And then we'll probably get off here and return to doing our rapid-fire update coverage on Twitter and in our mobile app. But you can still see a pretty strong circulation here, and I'll just loop it over the last few minutes. See, the circulation tightened up a bit as it moved across Highway 6 west of Waco. That's when they pulled the trigger on a tornado warning. It's going to be crossing Interstate 35. It might be doing it right now, actually. This is a fairly broad circulation in terms of there being a gate-to-gate couplet, but it's pretty strong at that. It's about 80 miles an hour, so it wouldn't take much for the circulation to tighten up and produce at least a brief tornado. And of course, that's nothing good happens when you get a tornado crossing Interstate 35, one of the busiest interstates in terms of the transportation of goods and cargo. So there's the latest radar scan. You can see a circulation right on top of the interstate. At this point, we haven't seen any ground truth of any tornadoes or debris or damage. Looking at correlation coefficient, there is no tornado debris signature, which is always a good thing. So this storm is moving northeast at about 35 to 40 miles an hour. It's going to be moving towards Leroy, Mount Com, over Northcrest and Lacey Lakeview at this point. If the circulation continues, they may have to extend a tornado warning towards southwestern Navarro County, and that would put places like Hubbard, Dawson under the line of fire. So their phones may be going off soon with that. Okay, we're going to take one more look at the storm. That is tornado warned northeast of Fredericksburg, but now closer to Marble Falls than Fredericksburg. This is the how hard it's raining mode. This is the which way the wind is blowing mode, and we still see strong rotation. That's about 60 miles an hour moving away from the radar, and about 50 to 60 miles an hour moving towards. So that's about 120 miles per hour of rotation, and even if there wasn't a tornado here, that's still enough wind to do damage. Now, we've had a tornado debris signature intermittently here over the last 10 minutes. Looks like it's become more diffuse and less defined, but regardless, here, I'll loop it. You'll be able to see that big blue dot pop up. That's your tornado debris signature right there. And typically you would make sure this is in conjunction with the circulation. I know it was because I looked. But that blue dot, that's debris that's been lofted just east of Highway 16. So at some point we had a tornado down. I mean, I guarantee it. You don't get a debris signature otherwise. Straight line winds don't suck debris 5,000 feet in the air. It just blows it around. So at some point we did have a tornado down. Do we have a tornado down at this point? Well, the debris signature's much less distinct now, so no, I can't say for sure if we have a tornado. But now that this storm has produced a tornado, we know that, well, it is certainly capable of doing so. And so you have to respect the fact it may try to put another tornado down as it continues moving northeast at about 40 miles an hour. So not under a warning yet, but I want those of you in Granite Shoals, Round Mountain, Cottonwood Shores, and Marble Falls, alright, around Highway 71 and Highway 281, this wouldn't be a bad time to be moving to your safe place. This thing's probably going to try and put another tornado down at some point here soon based off the velocity signature, and if not that, this thing's going to have a significant amount of straight line wind. So in terms of its reflectivity structure, it continues to look relatively organized. The velocity structure continues to look organized with about 80 to 100 miles per hour of broad rotation, and if that rotation tightens up, that's when you get another tornado. This storm did produce a tornado about 10 minutes ago. We had a tornado debris signature. The radar was able to detect debris lofted to about 5,000 feet above the surface. So we don't know if that was pieces of homes or just pieces of vegetation like leaves or brush, something like that. But it continues to look like this thing may try and put another tornado down. So it's definitely a serious situation for folks in places like Marble Falls. But what we're going to do now is we're going to get off this live stream. We're going to return to doing our rapid fire coverage in our mobile app, which is free. Just go search for Texas Storm Chasers in the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. And of course, if you're following us on Twitter, that's the same updates there. And we'll continue pushing those out. And if we need to come back and do a live video, we will. but there's plenty of local TV stations that provide excellent live coverage, so we'll try and let them do that. And we'll keep an eye on things. I'm David Reimer at TexasStormChasers.com. I still have several more hours of severe weather yet to deal with as these storms continue to move east into portions of East Texas, Central Texas. New tornado warning is now out, includes Marble Falls, Conwood Shores, Granite Shoals, Round Mountain. So please take shelter immediately. This is a storm that has produced at least one tornado over the last 15 minutes.